aims to collectively punish millions of people whose only crime is that they live in the Gaza Strip. This is a violation of international law and international humanitarian law, which are the pillars of the international order. And the pillar of peace and security, for whom the Security Council is responsible. On the 11th of October this year, the League of Arab States has taken a clear stance towards what is transpiring in Israel and the Gaza Strip. The League condemned unequivocally the targeting and the killing of civilians on both sides. This stance was welcomed by the international community. We hope that you all would remember that this stance was taken as we are convinced of the need to respect international humanitarian law by all parties. One of the principles of international humanitarian law pertains to the distinction between armed combatants on the one hand and civilians on the other. This principle has been violated every hour and every minute by Israel in the Gaza Strip over the past 2 weeks. Although this is the principle that guarantees that humanity would not descend again into the depths of barbarism and brutality that we've seen in previous wars prior to the adoption of the Geneva Conventions. The Israeli war on civilians in Gaza must stop immediately. This is the only way to prevent a major humanitarian disaster, to prevent a massacre that, if it happened in full view of the world would never forgive itself. This is a rabid war that claims every day hundreds of lives. Innocent civilians. Stopping this war is the responsibility of this council as a guarantor for international peace and security. This is a war without a clear strategy. Except for blind vengeance, it doesn't have a known time frame. We are surprised by those who are holding on to what they call the right to self-defense as a justification for the most serious atrocities. We're even more surprised by those who accept that this war is being waged outside the realm of international humanitarian law, meaning the law of war. And without any red lines, we see before us a plot being hatched before us to punish the people of Gaza, all of them, without any distinction, by bombarding their homes, starving them, depriving them of the basic necessities of life: food, water, medical treatment, fuel. We're all following with great concern that Israeli forces are still pressing the people of Gaza to leave their homes and forcibly displacing them from the north of Gaza to the south of Gaza, as if the aim was to create a humanitarian disaster, whether inside the strip or along the borders with Egypt. This opens the door for a second wave of forced displacement of the people of Gaza, and they're all refugees as is. The world must be warned. The League of Arab States rejects forcible displacement, not only because it's a crime under Article 49 of the Fourth Geneva Convention, it is also a systematic strategy that Israel seeks to apply to liquidate the Palestinian cause. I'm fully confident that the Palestinian people is aware of this threat to their cause. And I'm confident that Arab countries in the region are also aware of this threat. But it is shameful for the world to allow any official of any state to repeat this nonsense that will not be implemented on the ground. It will just increase the fury and the bitterness and violence. Palestinians and Arabs are not going to go through a second Nakba. We hope that the world, through this council, understands this assertion. The urgent priority today is to establish a sustainable mechanism to ensure the delivery of humanitarian aid from Egypt to Gaza through the Rafah crossing, and to establish a connected supply lines to deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza until calm is restored. The trucks that entered in the past few days are merely a drop in the ocean of needs. People in Gaza have been relying on 100 trucks loaded with necessities, food and medicine, daily, and I repeat, daily. I recall for the Security Council that the Palestinian-Israeli conflict did not start on the 7th of October, and the Palestinian cause is not and will not one of the tributaries of the war on terrorism. We warned, and others warned, that the situation in the occupied Palestinian territories, all occupied territories, whether in Gaza, the West Bank, or East Jerusalem, where Palestinians are living under the yoke of military occupation based on racial apartheid. This situation cannot be sustainable, cannot go on. Violence will only beget more violence and the desire to retaliate. It is time to address the root cause for the cycles of violence, ending the occupation and establishing an independent Palestinian state along the lines of 1967 can achieve peace for all. Standing on the right side of history means, in reality and unequivocally, standing on the side of Palestinian rights and Palestinian people, and not on the side of the occupying power. I repeat, occupying power. The only formula that would preserve the dignity and freedom of the Palestinian people and safety for the Israelis is the two-state solution. I hope the current developments would compel us to think about the future, about future generations, without repeating the mistakes of the past. I thank you, Mr. President.